Are you sure?
Here's the 30-second lesson on what legends know. Never ask a bride why she's getting married. Don't wear a skirt on a windy day. Deodorant is not a shower. Don't sniff chili flakes. And don't forget, saving is not investing. Legends don't just save, they invest in mutual funds. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
Exit polls are a contentious issue. Each side takes the view on it that suits it. So we are not getting there. Moreover, I know that you are up to your ears watching all these exit polls on so many channels. After a while, it becomes difficult to tell which one is which one is more likely to be accurate, which one is more likely to be loaded, depending on where you are coming from, and which one is it that you should take more seriously. So what we have is, we are avoiding, since we are cowards in this business, and it's wise to be cowardly. Discretion is the better side of valor very often, particularly in this case, because exit polling, opinion polling, in any case, election forecasting is a complex craft. It's a complex and imprecise craft. And pollsters have got many things wrong, even in much more advanced and educated societies. See what happened with Brexit. See what happened with 2016 American elections, when all polls showed that Trump was losing and Hillary Clinton was winning. Now, there are other caveats also. These are polls that went wrong, where the margins were really narrow. So usually you will find that opinion polls, exit polls tend to get it right when the margins are large or when the outcome is more or less certain. So we leave it at that and not go into seats, etc. Because the toughest thing with psephology is converting data into seats. You can convert data on public opinion based on demographics of age, religion, in case of India, caste, professions, etc., 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 gender for sure. But the toughest thing is to convert these numbers into seats in parliament. That's a bit of a tricky game. So we are not going there. However, we are looking at some basic data, which is telling us a lot about how Indian society, Indian popular opinion is changing, how the political propositions that are today available to Indian voters, essentially the NDA, that's BJP plus, or India, which is Congress plus. Those are the two large formulations which are available to the people of India as options. So how is it that these demographics are responding to this? So in this episode of Cut the Clutter, we look at that data, because Axis has been good enough to send a large file of data to us. That is a 40+ page document, of which I am sharing a link with you. You can peruse it at your leisure, but we have it, and it's very instructive, because once again, avoiding the trap or temptation to jump into seat numbers, we are looking at broader indicators, and these are very interesting. And there also we've tried to pick out what is the most significant and the most interesting. So first of all, thank you Pradeep Gupta and the team at Axis for sending this basic data and basic analysis for us, which goes way beyond the party's larger vote share and their likely seat numbers. All of that you've heard on discussions and debates on the India Today channels just yesterday, that is on Saturday afternoon. First of all, some important highlights. Major demographics where NDA is ahead. So it's ahead, substantially ahead, according to this poll, among scheduled tribes, OBCs, or a large section of OBCs. There's a Yadav exception. A large section of OBCs, in fact, that's one of the largest gaps between the NDA and its challenger, which is mostly the India Alliance. And in the general category, as you would expect, general category is mostly upper caste. It's far ahead of the others. Congress, however, Congress plus, however, as you would expect, is ahead among Muslims by a very long distance. It's marginally ahead among scheduled castes, and of course, I told you, among OBCs, there was a Yadav exception. That's where Congress Plus is ahead, mainly because of its alliance with RJD in Bihar and Samajwadi Party in Uttar Pradesh. Then again, very interesting highlights and maybe counterintuitive. You would think that a lot of the young people really, really adore Narendra Modi, and he must be sweeping that demographic. that is young voters between the age group of 18 to 25 and first-time voters. Now, first-time voters, Narendra Modi may be a little bit ahead, say 42 to 40. But in 18 to 25 age group, BJP has actually a little bit less, and also in the 26 to 35 age group, and their growth has also been negative in both of these. Whereas as you move into higher age categories, BJP starts doing better and better. To that extent, this conforms with the global trend among all democracies, that older people tend to vote for the right. And the older they get, the more people vote for the right. However, this is India, so there will always be an India exception. So while India follows, according to this research, India follows the global pattern of older people, more and more older people voting for the right. Now, the other important thing, as we go along and look at this data, is something that we've been saying for quite some time, that increasingly, election after election, that column in your election tally, others, that column has been diminishing. We've seen this in national elections, election after election. We've also seen it in state elections. So others now diminishing, which means people are no longer wasting their vote. They are not voting for any party that they see as not winning or that they see as not stopping the obvious front runner. So smaller parties, they join alliances, do better. Smaller parties that decided to go on their own are not doing better. If you look at the others column in this election, according to this survey, the others vote share has gone down from 28% to 14%. So it's exactly halved. Now you might say that some of the party among others have joined these alliances. It's the same parties that I told you just now, but it's also TDP, for example, which has now gone with the BJP. In any case, it tells us that the others factor in national politics is now declining. At the same time, others even now is a sizable group. I'm not listing the entire group for you. If you see the full document from Access, all the parties that are grouped under others are listed, but these parties include the formidable BSP in Uttar Pradesh, YSRCP. These are formidable parties. Parties which have given us chief ministers, YSRCP in Andhra, AIADMK in Tamil Nadu, BJD in Odisha, BRS, which was until recently ruling Telangana, that is KCR's party, Shurmani Akali Dal, JJP in Haryana, INLD, the Devilal Clan's party, both are Devilal Clan parties in Haryana, AIMIM, that is Asaduddin Owaisi's party, AIU, DF, that is Badruddin Ajmal's party in Assam, and many, many, many others. So others are still quite a large group. That group has now halved. And that is a very important indication in Indian politics going ahead. So increasingly, political parties will have to make a choice. And once again, if the larger thrust of all the exit polls is right, it would show. And if the larger thrust of all the exit polls is right, and it does come out on 4th of June, that parties like YSRCP, BJD in Odisha, TMC, they have suffered greatly this time. It will tell us that the time of single state, no ideology, single state, single leader, no ideology parties may be now getting to be over unless they join hands with a larger alliance. So once again, standalone, single state, non-ideological, single leader parties, they seem to have the clock running out on them. Now we come to some granular data. I will read some of this to you, and also this data will run on the screen for you. This is straight from the Access report. So you can see that some of this will highlight, but I will mention some to you. Let's look at gender first, gender-wise breakup. So BJP was always doing well for men, right? It was generally about the same vote percentage as the BJP plus vote percentage the last time. NDA vote percentage the last time, 44%. It's now gone higher to 46% by 2%. Congress for men, when I say BJP or Congress in this case, for ease of understanding, it means BJP and allies and Congress and allies. Congress had 27% earlier, so gap was 17%. Now it's 40%, it's gone up by 13%. The gap is still a sizable 6% for men. 6% gap is a very hefty gap. It's a killer gap in a first past the post system. All of this gain has come from others. See what's happening with women. With women, BJP has gone from 46 to 48%. So 46% men vote for the BJP, 48% women vote for the BJP. It means BJP is getting more votes from women, and that is what I told you was counterintuitive. Globally, women tend to vote more for the liberal left of center parties. In India, it's the opposite. So 48% women, 46% men for the BJP. Congress has also gone up for women, 27 to 38, plus 11% that is. But in this case, the gap is 10%. The gap is 10% means Congress 38, BJP 48. 10% gap in a first past the post system kills you. And that's one of the main reasons the Congress Plus formulation seems to be struggling. If this opinion poll is true, once again, I am not getting into conversion of these numbers into any seats. And from where have these gains come from? 11 plus 2%. 13% gain has taken place. All of this has come from others, and that's a very, very significant finding. Then we come to the so-called rural-urban divide. Once again, the BJP is doing better in both areas. Both areas, Congress Plus has improved, yet that same about 6% gap remains. And as we told you, 6% is very, very significant. 6%, if this actually comes out true, can be a devastating gap for the side trailing. Now let's come to the caste-wise breakup, and there list the scheduled tribes first. Not exactly a caste, but scheduled tribes are a category. They are 9% of India's voter base. There, the BJP retains its strength. Its gap with the opposition earlier, however, was 17%. Now the gap has fallen to 8%, but 8% is a lot of gap. The opposition also looks like having made a sizable gain from 30% to 40%, but that's also because the size of the Congress-led alliance has now become bigger. Then we come to the next very significant demographic, which is scheduled castes. Scheduled castes, and that is something the BJP will think about and maybe even worry about, because they decline. It's one of the rare demographics where BJP has seen a decline according to this survey. Now, we know that it's a small decline of 1%, but because BJP is gaining almost everywhere, wherever there is a decline, knowing the BJP, they will think hard about it, and you can see some responses to this going ahead. So, scheduled castes, 17% of India's voter base, that is 1 in 6 voters is scheduled caste. BJP has gone from 41% to 40%, that's minus 1. Congress Plus has gone from 28 to 43%, that is plus 15. The important thing is, it's one of those rare demographics, and they will be probably one or more as we go along. It's one of those rare demographics. It's a very important one where Congress Plus is ahead of the BJP, 43% to 40%. What does it show us? And this has happened in spite of the fact that BSP is in the others category. This would also mean that probably some or maybe many of the BSP's voters have now moved across to the India Alliance. That's a significant finding in this survey. OBCs, the largest demographic group, 31% of India's voters are OBCs. BJP completely smashes the opposition in this area. That's been known for some time. But the only data we will have on which we'll analyze any of this will be exit poll data, like this one from Axis. Tomorrow we might get from CSTS. Besides that, there is no other data. So BJP already was getting 56% of the OBC vote. Now they've gone to 58%. Congress Plus has gone from 19 to 30, obviously because of the alliance with RJD and SP. And yet, how much is the gap? The gap is 28%. 28%, the BJP alliance is ahead of the Congress alliance on OBCs. What does it mean? If you translate this in the larger political headline terms, what it means is that BJP is now showing that it has devastated mandal politics. If 58% of OBCs are voting for BJP compared to 30% to a grouping which has India's preeminent OBC parties, it tells you that BJP has really maxed out on OBC vote share, and others have to think about it. Does it mean that mandal politics is over? I don't know. But if you look at this data, that seems to be the indication, at least for now. The general category, that is all the so-called upper castes, no surprises, BJP rules it. It was 60% earlier. General caste, by the way, is about 17% of India's voter base. That's 1/7. That's about a half of OBCs, and the same as scheduled castes, right? There the BJP has gone from 60 to 64. Congress Plus has also improved 18 to 24, but the gap is the largest for any demographic in this analysis. That is a 30% gap. That means 30% more so-called upper castes vote for the BJP and its allies than for the Congress and its allies. That is the biggest gap between the two, but the bigger only as long as you are looking at it from the front runner's point of view. Then we come to the underdog in this case, or the challenger, that is Congress Plus. There is one demographic where Congress Plus does twice as well as the BJP Plus does in general category, and no prizes for guessing. That is the Muslim demographic. That is 14% of India's population, about the same as upper caste Hindus or scheduled caste, 14%. So 1 in 7 Indians is a Muslim. There, BJP had 9% vote earlier. Don't buy into any propaganda that goes on about so many Muslims are now voting for the BJP. So many Muslim women are voting for the BJP after the abolition of triple talaq, etc. Those are all talking points. BJP had 9% vote of Muslims in 2019. Now it's down to just 6%. 6%. And Congress Plus has gone from 52% to 76%. So I told you that the gap here is more than twice as much than the gap that the BJP, positive gap that the BJP has over its opposition, over its challengers for upper caste Hindus. The gap here is a good 70 percentage points. What's the lesson here? The lesson is that while Muslims are voting strategically to keep the BJP out, their challenge is that right now, parties that get the Muslim vote, they have failed to build large enough coalitions among Hindu groups, particularly specific Hindu caste groups. And unless that happens, Muslim vote alone cannot determine who will rule India or cannot have a decisive say over who will rule India. Then we come to age, 18 to 25 category. As I told you earlier, we would have all expected that Prime Minister Modi was doing very well because generally, the belief is the young people like him, 18 to 25. The BJP has seen a little decline, -1, just like in the scheduled caste category. But that is something, again, the BJP will worry about because that's where the job prospects, their hopes from the future come in. Because if they are rising everywhere, why are they declining in this one? Yet, even then, in spite of BJP's 1% decline and Congress's 15% increase, Congress is still 41 to BJP's 43. So the positive gap is still in BJP's favor. See how this moves as we go along age groups. Again, 26 to 35, BJP is again declined by -1%. But in an election or in a survey where they seem to be gaining everywhere, where are they declining? They've declined so far among scheduled castes, in the 18 to 25 age group and also 26 to 35 age group. So they are seeing a marginal, very marginal decline in younger age groups. Counterintuitive, and I know BJP supporters will say this is very small, but the fact is this is small when you put it relative to all the other categories where the BJP is gaining so much, it becomes significant. So 26 to 45 category, BJP has gone down from 46 to 45. Congress has gone up from 26 to 40. The gap is still a healthy 5% for the BJP. And in 36 to 50 category, that is the largest demographic. 32% of India's voters come from the 36 to 50% category. There the BJP is not just doing all right, it's actually smashing its opposition. So BJP has gone up by 2%. The opposition, Congress Plus, has also gone up by 11%, mostly at the cost of the others But the gap of 10% is very, very decisive in favor of the BJP. And as we go ahead, as we move to the older age groups, and India is an aging population now, don't be under the impression that we are getting any younger. We are now getting older quite significantly because our birth rates have really fallen over the past many years. 51 to 60 age group is 11% of India's population. 11%. There, the BJP has made a 4% gain. I told you, as the age rises, as the age groups get older, BJP's gains become more significant. Younger age groups, BJP has losses, even if small. So 51 to 60 age group, BJP is up by 4%, Congress Plus is up by 9% to 39, but BJP with a 4% gain has gone from 43 to 47. So once again, an 8% gap, brilliant, you can't fight with it. And then 61 plus. Generally, people in the post-retirement category. That is 14% of India's voter base, which means 1 in 7 Indians, the same percentage as Muslims, 1 in 7 Indians is above 61 years of age. 61 plus people in India, voters in India, are 14%. There, the BJP has gone from 44 to 51%, right? It's one of those rare demographics where one side is more than 50% of the vote, right? 44 to 51%. Remember, BJP had that 50 plus number for OBCs. Congress had that 50 plus number for Muslims. Now 61, age 61 and above, BJP has 51%. It has gone up 7% from 44 the last time. Congress has gone up a little also, by exactly 7%, but that is from 30 to 37. So gap is 14%. Again, if you come to analysis by income levels, you have all these charts running on your screen. If you see the poorer people, that is people with incomes up to 10,000, that is 51% of India. In fact, if you see people earning up to 10,000 as 51%, and people between 10,000 to 20,000, that is 34%, together it comes to 85% of India. We are still a very poor country. So of the 51% voter base that earns up to 10,000 rupees a month, BJP has gone up marginally from 45 to 46. The Congress has gone up significantly from 27 to 40, but the gap is still quite large. Over a very large base, the gap is 6%. Again, 10,000 to 20,000, that is 34% of the population. BJP has gone up 4%, so BJP is doing quite well among poorer Indians. The opposition has gone up 11%. That's a big increase for the Congress group, but the gap here is even bigger. It's a 10% gap, again, over a large base. Then we come to the 20,000 to 30,000 group. Again, BJP has gone up from 41 to 45, and Congress Plus has gone up by 14%, in fact, from 26 to 40, and yet a 5%. And then you come to what you might call as the richer category, that is 30,000 and above. So that is 30,000 going up to Ambani, Adani, Tata, Birla, everybody. That is just 5% of India's demographic. Just 5% of India is above 30,000. That's a reality check among adults. So 44 to 46, the BJP has gone, the Congress has gone 30 to 39. And once again, you can see how much gap is there. For first-time voters, as we told you earlier, BJP is doing a little bit better, 44, but the Congress Plus is not doing so badly. It's 42. That is also underlined by the Congress Plus doing that much better in the 18 to 25 category. A lot of the data that comes up for other categories, that is people in different professions, different occupations, etc., follows the same trend. So I will just mention to you some highlights. So farmers are significant. 16% of India's voters are farmers. BJP's remain the same, 48 to 48. So again, it's one of those rare but important categories where BJP has not registered an increase. 48 remains 48. The Congress Plus has gone from 29 to 40. The gap is still significant at 11%. Once again, look at farm labor, which is allied to farmers. In that area, Congress has actually made a big gain. That is 26 to 41, but they are still a little bit below the BJP, which has gone from 39 to 43. So there is still a 2% positive gap, but BJP's gain is 4%, Congress's gain is 15%. BJP will think about it. The large rise that the BJP has seen is in the area of skilled professionals, and these are people in trade. Skilled professionals doesn't mean software people. It means plumbers, tour guides, priests, technicians, carpenters, like that. There, BJP has gone up from 40% to 52%. That's a 12% rise, a very large rise. Congress Plus has a small rise, and you can see that maybe some of this is also coming from Mudra loans and areas like that. Small shopkeepers, a small demographic, only 2%. And once again, this is one of those where BJP has remained the same. 49 remains 49. BJP will worry because normally BJP was known to be the party of the Baniyas, and a lot of the opposition to FDI in retail, multi-brand FDI in retail, actually came from the belief that small shopkeepers voted for the BJP. 49% is still a very high vote share. It remains the same. It hasn't gone up. The opposition has gone from 25 to 36, but as you can see, the gap is very large. Another area where the BJP remains the same is housewives. Housewives are a large chunk of votes, 20%. 1 in 5 voters in India are housewives. BJP was 50%, remains at 50%. The opposition goes from 23 to 36, yet a 14% gap is a lot. It's just that a gap that was 27% has now become 14%. It is still a sizable gap. Then we come to education. People who haven't gone to school, that is, believe it, people who haven't gone to school, don't be surprised, don't jump. That's 15% of India's voters. That is more than 1 in 7 of India's voters who've never been to school. 15%. There, the BJP has made a sizable gain of 5% from 39 to 44, but the Congress has also gained, see on your screen, from 28 to 42 by 14%. The gap has narrowed to 2%, but the gap's there. Then we come to those who gone to school up to class 9th. That is 22%, and I will just add up these numbers, percentages, and tell you a stark figure. 22% have only studied up to class 9. BJP is 46%, no change. Congress has gone from 28 to 39. Once again, the gap is 11%, which is sizable. And then we come to 10th pass, that is 21%. BJP plus has gone from 45 to 48, 3% gain. Congress has gone from 28 to 27. Again, the gap is there, but at these percentages, 15% of those who've never gone to school, plus 22% who've studied up to 9th, and then 21% who've studied up to class 10, and add to that the 18% who are only 12th pass. If you add all of these, it comes to 76%. So 76% of India has either never gone to school or has studied only up to 9th, or is 10th pass, or maximum is 12th pass. That is 76% of India. We've got a problem, New Delhi. That is India's big challenge, and that is where India's demographic dividend could be lost. Once again, for 12th pass also, which is 18% of India, BJP is about the same as before, 46 to 47. Congress has gone up substantially. The gaps there, BJP will not worry about that too much, because 76% of Indians are only educated up to class 12, if they are educated at all. As we go higher on the education ladder, groups become smaller. Graduates once again is a category where BJP has now got 50% of the vote. That's a lot. Congress Plus has increased greatly, but only from 24. The base was low to 38, so the gap is large. Once again, a category, graduates, 19% of India, in which the BJP has 50% vote share, very significant. Then postgraduate, that's only 4%. BJP has gone up from 50 to 53. Again, all better educated categories, BJP is doing better. All better educated categories, BJP is generally 50% plus or thereabouts. So graduates, 50%. Postgraduates, now 53%, with a 3% gain over 2019, which was 50%. Congress, etc., have gone up to 37% with a 14% gain. But there is a gap. Again, 53% among India's postgraduate voters. That's what the BJP has. And finally, since we are talking about all categories, those with professional degrees, that's only 1% in India. That's all your MBAs, BEs, MTechs, LLBs, LLMs, journalism degrees and diplomas. Why should I leave that out? All of them count for only 1% of India's voters. And there again, the BJP has more than 50%. BJP now has 51%. It's gone up from 45 to 51. Congress has gone up for 30 to 40, but the gap still remains. Then we come to the category of occupation-wise data. If you see unemployed people, BJP has gained a little bit, opposition has gained a lot more and actually has come quite close. So BJP has gone from 43 to 45. Its opposition, Congress Plus, has gone from 27 to 42. So there is something that this data is telling us. Among students, unemployed are 5%. Obviously, they follow the Government of India criteria for unemployment, not CMIE. If you see students, that's 4%. BJP has gone up from 43% to 44%, whereas the opposition, Congress, has gone from 24 to 43%. That's come really close. Once again, it confirms the data we gave you earlier about people in the 18 to 25 and 25 to 35 age groups being less besotted with Narendra Modi than people in the older age groups or people with higher qualifications. Labor again is very close, 44% to the BJP, 41% to the opposition. Government service, BJP is the same, 46 and 46. Professionals, BJP has declined a little bit. These are professionals. These are not technical people. These are not your plumbers, electricians, priests, as I had mentioned to you earlier. These are professionals like architect, practicing lawyers, doctors, people like that. Professionals, BJP has gone down, a rare demographic where BJP has gone down. And this is a demographic BJP used to rule. So BJP had 54% of this category, although it's a small category, just 1% of India, small but very influential. BJP had 54% in 2019, has 50% now. The opposition has doubled. Congress has doubled from 19 to 38. The gap is still there. However, this loss would worry the BJP. Then we come to another category where BJP has 50% or above 51%. That is retirees. BJP has 51%. It's gone up by 6% over the last time. But that's in keeping with the BJP's lead among older people in India. Fishermen, both are the same. 43%. This is in spite of the fact that BJP seems to be making some gains on the eastern coast this time. And with this, I will share with you this picture that Praveen Jain, our photo editor, took when we were traveling through Kashmir Valley reading the writings on the wall. This is a hoarding, and see what this hoarding is saying. This is a hoarding that's telling you in Hindi, and this hoarding was found all over Kashmir Valley, including Srinagar, close to Lal Chowk, was taken in Baramulla. Remember, the BJP was not contesting any of the seats in Kashmir Valley. Remember also that Hindi is not the language in which you speak to the voters in the Kashmir Valley. Why did the BJP then had these hoardings all over the Kashmir Valley in Hindi with their own symbol? BJP's symbol was not in the contest in Kashmir Valley. Why was the BJP then spending this money and paying this attention to that area where it was not in the race? That's because the BJP understands that a large number of India's uniformed personnel, particularly Army, Navy, Air Force, vote for it. And that is borne out by this data. This data tells us that 53% of India's military community votes for the BJP or BJP allies. 53%. How many vote for the Congress and its allies? 32%. So it's not a very large group, but it's a very significant and influential group. And you can see, and this is mostly in keeping with the global trend among democracies, that soldiering classes, the armed forces, tend to back the parties of the right. So 53% to 32% for all soldiers. And that makes us understand, in fact, it made me understand what were those BJP hoardings doing there. Because that territory has such a high deployment of uniformed personnel, as we know, who vote through postal ballots. And the BJP in this case is reaching out to them to secure its postal ballot support.